Welcome back, everyone. Today we're doing a deep dive, really exploring these two concepts, the lower self and the higher self.
Mm,
We're basing this on a piece from Mark at Knowledge is King. It's called Higher Self, Transcending Darwinism.
right.
And our goal really is to get into what makes these two selves different and also look at this maybe surprising link to Darwinism.
Yeah, and Mark's central point, right off the bat, is that the biggest difference fundamentally comes down to ethics.
Morality.
Ethics and morality.
Yeah.
That's a that's a pretty significant starting point, isn't it?
It really frames the whole discussion.
So if that's the core difference, how do these two actually operate? What does it mean for you, for your actions day to day? Let's start with the lower self. Mark describes it as driven by basic instincts, right? Self-interest.
Primal stuff, survival, getting ahead, dominance. It's very focused on the individual.
That me first kind of drive.
And that's where the source makes this, I think, quite interesting connection to Darwinism.
Okay, how so? Well, Mark puts it as Darwinism being, essentially a manifestation of the lower self's vibration. So not strictly biological evolution, but the mindset.
Vibration meaning like its core tendency.
Sort of, yeah.
Mm.
That focus on competition, survival of the fittest. It lines up with how the lower self operates, according to this view, that raw impulse.
Okay, that's a different way to look at Darwinism for sure. So if that's the lower self, competitive, self-focused, how does the higher self contrast? It must be quite different.
Oh, completely. A total shift, like you said.
Yeah.
The higher self operates, well, on a higher level of consciousness,
Meaning?
meaning it's guided by a strong moral code. Empathy is huge here. Thinking about others, not just the self.
Living beyond just what's in it for me.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's more like, how does this impact everyone? It recognizes we're all connected.
Interconnectedness, that's a key theme then.
Absolutely. So the focus shifts. It prioritizes cooperation, compassion, really, over that raw competition we see in the lower self model.
Can you maybe give an example, like how that plays out?
Sure. Think about a negotiation. The lower self might aim to win at all costs, right? Zero sum.
Right, someone has to lose.
Whereas the higher self would look for a win-win, a solution that benefits everyone involved. It's about collaboration, building shared value. The source argues this isn't just being nice, it's tapping into a deeper understanding.
Okay, so it's not just about personal success in the traditional sense. What's the ultimate aim then, according to Mark, of operating from this higher self state?
Well, the goal is pretty clear in the source. It's to transcend this limited mindset.
The lower self's mindset.
Precisely. To move towards a more ethical, more moral way of being. Not by crushing the lower self, but by choosing consciously, guiding actions with awareness, with compassion.
So it's about evolution on a personal level, moving beyond just surviving.
Yeah, thriving in a way that lifts others up too.
Okay, so boiling it down, the key takeaway from Mark is this fundamental clash almost between values. Self-interest versus empathy, competition versus cooperation.
That's the heart of it. And that difference, he argues, is what shapes our actions, our behaviors, everything really.
It really makes you think about your own motivations, doesn't it?
It does. Our choices coming from fear, from scarcity, or from a place of connection, of responsibility.
That brings us to a question for you, listening. Thinking about these distinctions, this lower and higher self, how might that shift your view on competition versus cooperation in your own life? Where do you notice these forces?
And just a final thought to leave you with. If that survival of the fittest idea, framed this way, represents a sort of lower vibration, what small choices could you make, maybe starting today, to align yourself more with that higher self pursuit, with ethics, connection, and maybe a sense of shared well-being?